My name is Tracy Blackwell, and I've been coming to Rock Point since the very second service that Rock Point ever had. I don't think I've ever felt as hopeless as I did that particular night. That night, I really felt like everything I ever knew, everything that my family ever was no longer going to be that way. That everything was going to change, and that I was going to lose everything. And it was just the most hopeless feeling I'd ever had. That particular night, we were staying in a hotel room. We were waiting for our house to be ready. And so I went to sleep. When I went to sleep, Scotty was sleeping next to me. In the bed beside of us was our two children. They were 4 and 5 at the time. I went to sleep. Everything was normal. A few hours later, I awoke to the banging on the door, and I kind of just knew, like my heart sunk, and I looked over and noticed that Scotty was gone. So the first thing that came to my mind was that something bad had happened. So I made my way to the door, and when I opened it, there were 2 police officers standing at the door, and they asked me, "Ma'am, are you with Scotty Blackwell?" And I remember just thinking, like, everything's about to change. Whenever they speak, everything's going to change. And I said, "Yeah, I'm with Scotty Blackwell." And I looked down, and one of the police officers had his keys in his hand. And he went to hand me the keys, and he said, "Ma'am, we've arrested him. We found him in the parking lot of the hotel shooting up illegal drugs." And I just, like, at that moment, I just remember holding onto the door frame because I really thought I was going to pass out. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. We had just gone to sleep. Everything was perfectly fine. And then here's, these officers telling me, honestly, I couldn't believe it. And I remember looking backwards and seeing my daughter sleeping in that bed and thinking, what have I done? Everything's over. I didn't believe in God. I was an atheist. I actually made fun of people that talked about God. I considered it a crutch, an excuse, just, something people used to get by, weakness for people. And so as time went on with this process, and Scotty was sent away, I really truly was alone. I was left to kind of carry on life by myself with these 2 children, and I was very resentful of Scotty for that, because he was off in this place and he was learning how to be a new person, and he kept telling me about this God that he had found, and how if I would just accept this God that I would be okay and our kids would be okay. And I just resented that. I was so angry with him, because how dare he find this God that we didn't have, and we were suffering, and he was, talking about his feelings and playing volleyball and doing all the, in my mind, he was having the time of his life while we were out here trying to survive. And so when he finally came home a year later, he wanted to go to church, and I just thought, no, well, I don't want to go to church. It's not going to help anything. We had gotten this flyer in the mail that said, "Come as you are." We were staying in this rundown trailer across the street from Leander Middle School. I had no interest whatsoever. But what I did know was that whatever this God was that he had found had changed him in some way. And I didn't trust it. I didn't trust it to be long-lasting. I thought, but for the moment, it's working, so I'll go. If it helps you and it keeps you sober for another day, then I'll go. And I didn't want to be there. I sat in the back. I think I might have heckled a little bit a few times. And for about 6 months, I just sat there, and I would cry. Every time I'd come into that building, I would cry. And I thought, what is this? Like, why would people want to come here and cry? Because there were other people crying. People were singing and crying, and it just didn't make any sense to me. And then on October 6th of that year, 2002, I finally just surrendered. What I thought to be the worst day of my life, a day that nothing good could ever come of that day. I could not imagine in that moment how anything could be positive from that day. Turned out to be actually the day that changed our lives forever. Then other people in my family started seeing that change. And slowly but surely, they started coming to church. And I watched as my mother was baptized. And I watched as my brother, started to transform. And it's amazing to me that at the time, all I could see was how broken that we were. And now when I look back on it, I realized without that moment, we wouldn't be where we are. I'm just so grateful for his mercy and his grace. Because for me, when I finally surrendered, I truly, physically became a new person. It was like this miraculous experience for me where all of the shame and the guilt and the pain from all of the crap that had happened to me in the past or that I had done in the past was amazingly lifted from me. And I left that room in Leander Middle School a completely new person. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve any of that, and I'm just so grateful for the life that I have, for the opportunity that I get to serve, that he trusts me, and he loves me so much that he allows my dreams to come true, that I get to travel to Rwanda to serve people that can never repay. And I don't deserve that. But he loves me so much that he gives it to me anyway.